to Kenyan citizens. Welcome. This is the Current Affairs segment, your trusted source for the latest news, insightful discussions, and impactful stories shaping our nation and beyond. I'm Angela Kabete, and together with Bahati Kimotho, dive into the latest headlines and uncover the truth behind the news of what has been happening that is in our country and beyond. So stay tuned as we break it down right here, right now. Bahati Kimotho, a very good morning to you.
Hey, good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Ulienda church jana?
Kabisa.
You're blessed?
Nikabarikiwa kabisa.
That's
yes,
great.
Najua jana ilikuwa Father's Day.
Acha nikwambie happy belated Father's Day.
Ilikuwa mzuri. At least tunashukuru.
Okay.
Yes.
Salimia watazamaji.
Nataka kuwasalimia sana na kuwashukuru kwa vile wamekuwa pamoja na sisi, kuwakaribisha kwenye show. Let us see now what has been happening to our nation. Karibuni.
Yeah.
Yes.
But before anything else, it is always on to appreciate that is the verse of the day, Mr. Kimotho.
Yes.
As always. And let's head over to the verse of the day that is in John 15:5, and it says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruits. Let me repeat. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, can you do nothing. That is what the verse of the day, Mr. Kimotho, says.
Yes.
This is Jesus comparing himself. You know, that is anajicompare na the vine.
Yeah.
And you know the vine inakuanga na nutrients, you know, a lot of things. Kwa hivyo anasema that I am the vine and you are the branches. You know, it means that without Christ we are nothing.
Yeah.
You know, without Christ we cannot do anything, because he's our source of spiritual life. We depend on him. Everything that we do, the decisions that we make, we rely on him. No. And after inaendelea inasema that whoever abides in me and I in him, kwa hivyo bears much fruits.
Yeah.
Kwa hivyo the moment that you rely on Christ in everything that you do, you're productive compared to ule mtu mwenye rely on Christ. What do you understand from the verse, Mr. Kimotho?
Unajua, there are many advantages of being a branch, because you don't do so much suffering. Because unajua branches are attached now to the tree. So the tree lazima itafute imaji to the roots. Lazima iwe firm. Lazima, you know, so many other things. So the branch kazi yake is just now to fetch now from the tree na kubear fruits. So it's very, you know, it is a very simpler, you know, understanding ya kwamba when you attach yourself now to Jesus, everything else becomes so much easy. Because when you align, you know, yourself to him, so the struggle na ile mambo ingine na the fight, yote ni yeye anaichukulia pale. So it's just something good just to attach ourselves to him, because kuna ile assurance ambayo ametupatia pale. Yes.
Okay, for viewers, just a reminder that rely on God and rely on Jesus Christ in everything that you do in our daily lives. Make sure that you depend on Christ, and that is the verse of the day.
Yeah.
And now let's head over to what has been happening, Mr. Kimotho. A lot has been happening in our country, right?
Yeah.
I have the Daily Nation with me.
I have the Standard newspaper.
Okay, and
Yes.
on the Daily Nation, the highlights of what you're going to check, Mr. Kimotho, that is the external affairs and the internal matters to do with security that is in our country. And ya kwanza ninaona that is matters to do with Sudan, a war, and they're saying that exposed Kenya's arms in Sudan war. And you know, this an investigation imekuwa that is for 6 months, Mr. Kimotho, and the people who are involved, that is President William Ruto, you know. Then we have that is the RSF leader, and we have that is the Kenya Ministry of Defense. These are the people that are involved. We check out on what is happening, and then there are matters to do with that is matters to do with the Ojwang, who was murdered, after the abduction. That is something that has been going on. And the people that were involved, sai watu wenye wanaangazia sana, that is Eliud Langat, the family, and also Ojwang's family.
Yes.
And then apart from that, we have that is matters to do with politics. Mr. Kimotho, I guess here mwenye tunaangalia leo, that is the president, and the saying Ruto turns to the same old tactics again against opposition. And that story is in page 7, and that is what will be those are the highlights of what we'll be checking today, Mr. Kimotho, on the Daily Nation. What about you?
Okay, on standard newspaper, I can see we have the issue of insecurity, the issue to do with Albert Ojwang, the issue to do with Gen Z, the issue to do now with the visit of the president in Kakamega, some bit of IPOA, and also the expose still on the issue of Ojwang, and you can see also a bit of the budget. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with your standard.
So on the Standard newspaper here, I can see the issue of Ojwang is still on. I can see here the highlights on the newspaper. Shameless, that is top cops. That is ongoing investigation into what is increasingly appearing to be a deliberate killing of a teacher and influencer, that is Albert Ojwang, exposing lies that is by the police sector. And something that emerged, that is during the weekend, we saw that there was a CCTV footage that is from Bahati hospital. And the CCTV footage was showing the time that the police entered the hospital. And na vile walifanya, vile walikaa, kuna ile vile waliingia pale. Unajua mgonjwa kama ameletwa emergency, huwezi enda parking, unapeleka direct now to the emergency, pale way in, na anashughulikiwa haraka. So meaning that kulingana na the CCTV footage ambayo ilikuwa inaonekana pale, ambayo ilikuwa tu ina circulate kule kwa social media, inaonyesha walikuja wakapaka, wakadelay, wakangojea, making phone calls and so forth and so forth. So meaning that even they knew what was going on. They knew even the the body itself, the vile ambavyo ilikuwa pale, because kama ni mtu anahitaji emergency wangekuja kwa haraka sana kama wamefanya nini, wamempeleka pale. So I can see on page 6 of Standard, but inaelezea that is the hospital CCTV footage exposes gaps in a police story, that is of Ojwang's death. Na ile time ambayo waliingia pale, and unaona sasa kama hii CCTV ya hii hospitali ilisaidia sana, kwa sababu iliweza now to be put into the ongoing investigation. So kama bado kungekuwa ile CCTV pale that is pale hospitalini, that is pale kwa police station, pia nayo ingeweza kutuguide na kutuonesha ni mambo gani ambayo yalikuwa najiri pale. So it is also high time that even some of these departments they should now emphasize on some of the technology ways ambazo tuko nazo, because I know now hiyo CCTV footage pia itaonesha now the police officers ambao waliweza kupeleka pale. So if at all wale ambao walionekana pale hawaku make statement, they are supposed also now to make the same statement. And speaking still on that the issues of CCTV, that is another story concerning the same issue. Ojwang's murder case test IPOA, that is integrity. So the IPOA is an independent police oversight authority that is it is supposed to oversee all the activities of the police, how they do, how they conduct, and also to come up to ensure that the policy engagement, the governing policies that are supposed to be used by the police are well articulated the way they're supposed to be. So the IPOA is also on stake because on how he's going now to conduct the investigation. And I remember that their presentation even to the Senate last week, they also submitted their submissions that they should be given a bit of powers, maybe now to arrest, and also now to do diligent maybe investigation, and also to prosecute. Because sasa unajua sasa wakishamaliza report yao, they have now to forward it now to the police, now the police to be able now to make the arrest, and also now the prosecution to be done by that is the office of the other relevant office that is supposed to be there. So so we can see also here on Standard page 7, it is now trying also now to show now how the IPO is going to handle, Pia naona hapa the highlights now from one of the CEO, that is a director, that is Elema, that is Halake, that he stated that the IPO will eventually summon, that is Langat, explaining that the investigations was being conducted in a logical sequence. So the reason we haven't started with the complainant is that certain facts are already clear. We are not saying we won't investigate the complainant. Rather, we are following a specific sequence on how to conduct the investigation. So they are still saying that they are still going out to someone, that is the deputy IG. Maybe now for him also now to be able now to make their own statement. So I can see that is a part of the story concerning the issue of Ojwang, ambayo iko, that is page 6, 7, and also page 8, stating of Ojwang's death points to pattern of police brutality and cover-ups.
That is sad. Because I can see here on the Daily Nation briefly, they're saying that as the world marked Father's Day yesterday, Mr. Shak Ojwang was preparing to bury his only child, Albert, who was murdered in police custody. That is sad.
It's very sad. Yeah. It's very sad, even concerning how the issue was being handled. Because this young man alichukuliwa akiwa sawa, akiwa uzima wa afya wa mwili, and ukiangalia na ile the time frame na ile mambo ambayo inafanyika hapa. For example, now Ojwang was arrested, that is in Homa Bay, taken to Nairobi by 9:35 walikuwa wamefika pale, found unconscious, that is during a cell checkup, rushed to Magadi Hospital at 9. So ukiangalia hizi events vile ambazo zinafanyika, something ambayo ilifanyika very fast, something ambayo it is compared with a lot of brutality, a lot of carelessness ambayo ilikuwa pale. That's why now we are really hoping that these investigations will not be interfered with, so that we can avoid such issue happening to anyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I hope this will not happen to any other person.
We are really praying and hoping that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And away from that, Mr. Kimotho, matters to do with the Ojwang. Yes. On the Daily Nation page 1, kuna, that is external affairs and internal affairs in Kenya to do with security. Okay. And they're saying that a coup RSF recently attempted to form parallel government in Nairobi, and they continue exposed Kenya's arms in Sudan's war. And this is an investigation imekuwa ikiendelea, that is for about 6 months. And when you look at the investigation, that is wanaitwa the nation investigation, they exposed Kenya branded ammunition in Sudan, pointing to Kenya involvement in the war by possibly arming the that is paramilitary rapid support forces, that is the RSF. And this turns to the spotlight once again on President Ruto's dalliance with the RSF leader Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, alliance that is Hemedti, close ties that have upset the Khartoum junta. The story is in page 2 and 3. And what, when you are involved up, Mr. Kimotho, that is our president, and kuna scrutiny over his perceived relationship with the RSF leader, and that is Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo. And then we have, that is the RSF leader, he's being accused of receiving external arms that they think it might destabilize Sudan. And then there is Kenya Ministry of Defense implicated by evidence of Kenya military grade munitions in Sudan. And this can have a great impact, Mr. Kimotho, because of the possible diplomatic fallout with Sudanese authorities and international bodies, because our country is involved. Arms zetu zinatoka huku zinaenda huko, which is not a good thing. And then this still is going to question Kenya's neutrality, and credibility in that is in regional peace, in creating regional peace among countries. What do you think about that?
Still on the same issue, we haven't seen something coming out clear, because we also saw a death of one of our pilot, because he was transporting some cargos into that nation, and then there was a military airstrike, and one of our Kenyan died. So we still need maybe to see now what has been happening. At the same time, we also need to be cautious with the issues now dealing with our neighbors, because we don't know what is happening in their own houses.
It's true.
Yeah, we really don't know. And what if now the support that we saw of that group that came and did their own MOU in our nation, what will happen if that group is being defeated? So it's something that we need now to you know, to step aside. It's high time that we should also now guard our borders, because in case of eventualities or fights, in case of anything, we should now make sure that our you know, our nation is not affected. Then at the same time, we should not deal so much with the activities. Let them, you know, fight themselves. Let them do whatever they're going to do. As long as now we ensure that we are not involved in that situation, because we have seen some of the nation finding themselves in the center of a dispute of another nation, na pia in a ribusiano, because at the same time we need a good relationship with some of the nations. So what we are supposed to be doing is just to be prepared and ensure that we can offer support for them so that they can have peace. Yes. Okay.
Can you say our president wants to become the peacemaker, you know?
So one thing with our nation has always been in the center of peacemaking, especially in neighboring countries. We saw it happening in Congo, Rwanda, and other nations. Wengi wanakimbilia hapa. Even we have one of the biggest, the camp ambayo I think iko kule northeastern. Na unaona watu wengi wanapotelea hapa because our nation imekuwa full of so much peace. So our president may be in a better position to offer that peace support to other nations. That's why we are really saying that we should first of all keep aside, we see what is happening, and then we should ensure that we are not supporting in any unajua hao ndio wanajua kile ambacho kinaendelea pale in their nation. So what you're supposed to do is first of all ensure that our borders zote ziko sawa, and also offer support to any side, because they are just in differences of leadership, but they're still the same people ambao watakuwa serving their own nation. Yes.
Okay, but this also raises issues about arms control and government accountability in Kenya.
Yeah. That's what we are really saying, because we might find ourselves supporting, we don't know, because we don't live in that nation.
Yes,
wale ambao wanaishi kwa hiyo nation ndio ambao wanajua. So we should wait. Sometimes kuna ile intensity of a fight, so that now they can come up with an agreement of how to govern their nation. So we should ensure that we are there to offer and to give them support, all of them. Because I remember even in our own nation, wakati kulikuwa na vurugu ambayo ilikuwa pale 2007, tuliona that is the late Kofi Annan alikuja na akajaribu nao kumend the indifference ambayo ilikuwa pale. So the same thing that we should also offer what we can be able now to give to a neighboring nation, but at the same time we should be very cautious, so that we may be, ni vizuri sazine tukukaa kidogo tunaangalia, and we see what is happening now to them, and now offer the necessary help that they need.
Okay.
Yes.
Away from that, the external matters, what do you have there?
I can see kuna another interesting story ambayo iko hapa. A year after the youth that is a revolt, churches caught politicians with deep pockets. So kulikuwa na issue ambayo ilikuwa imetokea. Unakumbuka kwanza after the protest ambazo zilikuwa pale, tuliona some of the Gen Z wakisema wataenda pia kuoccupy churches, because they were very furious over the money that the politicians zile pesa ambazo ziko pale. So kulingana ile report ambayo ninaona hapa, ninaona ya kwamba that is that motive ambayo imerudi tena, because that is they have been concerned that have been raised about the misuse of these fundraising events, with allegations that politicians exploit them to appear that is philanthropic, while masking that is the motives. That is Protestants and critics argue that politicians are often carrying large sum of cash alleged for the church construction, school development, and other projects that should be funded by the government or the religious institutions. So tuliweza kuangalia pia the Catholic churches that is wakiongozwa na the Nyeri diocese, that is the Anaito Anthony Muheria and other senior that is Catholic clergies, ambao pia tuliona they call out to the government to respect and fulfill their demands that is raised by the Gen Z at that time. Tuliona the Catholic pia one of the bishop akiweza kurudisha that is the 5 million ambayo ilikuwa donated pale. Na pia tuliweza kuona the similar issues pia ilifanyika pale ACK. So na kuangalia pia kulingana tu na sentiment that is ya watu wengi, that is kama kuna one of the Nairobi politician ambaye anaitwa Philip Kisia said that the clergy must do more to help and restore good governance in Kenya. He argued that the church should emulate the spiritual that is life. Na so ukiangalia hapa kuna mtazamo ya watu tofauti ambao wako nayo, na tumekuwa tukiona recently hii kitu imekuwa ikifanyika. So we don't know now the reason, but unajua sasa maybe the motive is good, I don't know, but kuna issue ambayo pia imereza kwa sababu tumekuwa tukiona that is recently even the president, the deputy na wale wengine wamekuwa wakienda wakipatiana wakidonate and offering their support to the churches, to the schools.
Can you call that support for a second? It is like campaigning,
Maybe it could be
supporting.
But it could be supporting because maybe unajua kuna ile tunaita si walisema that is ni mtihani.
Ni mtihani.
Itafika mahali wafanyie marks. Kuna ile marks ambayo watakuwa graded na wananchi. So maybe part of that zile marks ambazo wanataka wakumbukwe nazo ni kuoffer support ambayo ilikuwa pale. Ya makanisani.
Because people are saying out there that every tour feels like 2022 elections.
Yeah.
Campaigns, I mean.
But unajua now the other reason that maybe ama ile issue ambayo watu wako nayo, hii pesa ni ya nani? Ni yao ama ni ya nani? Yes.
Pesa ni yao ama ni ya nani?
Yes, because kama ni yao ni sawa, unajua watu watarate na ndio naona watu wakipatia hizi kazi wanaenda pale wanasema ile mali ambao wako na kuna ile wealth declaration ambayo iko pale. Watu watawina watagauge kulingana ile mshahara unafaa kupatiwa na Kenya unatoa. So at the end of the day itafika tu pale tu ni ile tu pesa tu yao ambao unaweza kuwapatia.
But Mr. Kimotho, hizi pesa zimepita salary yao. Hizi pesa ni mingi sana.
Yeah, kwa sababu unaona kuna some of the MP wana donate a lot of money ukifanya comparison na the amount that they earn, the ratio high add up. So it's kind of it's still the same money ambayo inatoka kwa wananchi ndio bado unapatiwa pale, na hatujui kama pengine zingine zinafika, we don't know, but wale ambao wamekuwa wakipromisio ndio wanaweza sema
kama wamepata. Lakini tujasikia wakicomplain kama wamepata Mr. Kimotho.
So ukiangalia maybe kuna hiyo mtazamo ambao pia maybe imerudi na it all now depends with very highly knowledge and wisdom on how to approach it, because at the same time kuna yule wanasema mgeni akikuja anakujaga na goodies, na uwezi ambia mgeni ka shopping bag mimi sitaki, wewe utachukua tu kwa sababu yeye anafanya nini amekupatia. So kuna watu wako na mtazamo tofauti depending with the approach, depending with how we are able to see it. Unajua pia kuna wengine pia wanakuwa guided na the anger na the fury and everything, na at the end of the day kama niyo support bado inahitajika tu pale.
Pesa ndio coolant ina neutralize mambo yote.
Bado kuna ile support ambayo, so even if we try now to see, it all now depends with how now the organization ama the approach of the church vile wata decide na vile hao wenyewe wataamua, na pia at the same time so kuna ile kitu ambao watu wanaangalia. So but ukiangalia kulingana na history yote is that saizi it's very hard for any politician to come with any trick ambayo wakijaribu maybe kufikiria maybe wa Kenya hawaoni, wanaangalia na wanaona. So in everything that we do, even if it is something good, make sure that the approach iko tu sawa.
Unajua wa Kenya wanasikiza ground, wanaangalia.
So naona hiyo shimerudi tena, naona imeangaziwa na standard that is page 4. So yeah, really tutaangalia tuone.
Okay.
Yes.
Away from that, Mr. Kimotho, page 7 of the Daily Nation, I can see extreme raw sewage was poured at Jacaranda grounds to block Mr. Odinga, and saying a president turns to the same old tactics against opposition. So ni kama chenye alifanyiwa pia ni kama anafanya Mr. Kimotho. Can you say he's doing it innocently? I don't know.
What goes around.
Okay. That works even in politics?
Kwanza in politics kabisa. Ile tu method ambao ulifanyia mwingine pia nayo tutakupata tu pale.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's they're saying Ruto complained, that is our president, Ruto complained about being denied venues during the 2022 campaigns. And they're saying that wameka mtu mwenye wameangazia hapa Mr. Kimotho. kuna the DCP, you know, that is the former deputy president. And then ilikuwa team yenye ana launch party yake, Mr. Kimotho. They're saying that the decision by Sports Kenya to deny former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua a venue for the official launch of his new party echoes the same old tactics deployed by those in power to frustrate the opposition. Mr. Gachagua, a Democracy for the Citizens Party, has been forced to scout for a private venue after it was blocked for holding a venue event that is at Kasarani Sports. And they're saying what they were told is, we regret to inform you that the venue will not be available due to prior bookings by sport teams. We are also taking further bookings due to preparation of the upcoming championships for Africa nations, that is CHAN, to be hosted within the complex sports. That is what they were told. And then wameangalia mtu mwingine hapa, that is the ODM leader Raila Odinga has been a major victim of the state overreach during the former President Uhuru Kenyatta at the tenure. The police and the government agencies cited fears for the political violence. So this is something that is happening to every regime, Mr. Kimotho.
But is that the only venue? You have so many other venues around. You have so many.
Kwa hivyo wache kusema ati, lakini kwa nini happen temenye wamebook Mr. Kimotho?
Tuko na so many venues that are there. Yeah. Okay, unajua hizi ni public, kama you know, it is a public what do you call it, public utilities zenye ziko pale na ziko na so many usage. Kama saizi unaona kuna preparation ya sports na mambo yale mengine ambayo yako pale, they could pia wange reach out to other venues ambazo ziko pale, because tuko nazo, not only hata Nairobi bado hawaje exhaust zile zote ziko pale. So they should not you know, stop you know, sticking out to it completely. Then at the same time tuliona wakati now the you know, the president alikuwa deputy, they also complain of the same thing. So unaona pia nao the same thing imefika pale mwafanyikia. But at the end of the day, just look for so many ways and so many options instead of you know, consistent complaining.
Sticking to that one thing.
There are so many venues, and there are so many ways that they can also be able to reach out to people. Yes.
Complain. Would you say that probably the president is innocent?
Okay, I don't know. I don't know, kwa sababu unajua the president ana handle so many other things, na vitu kama hizi ndogo hizi si zake, za maybe wale ambao wako in charge. But at the same time they could have at least wangekuwa na list of like 5 other places ambazo wamebook.
Tungesema sasa ni mambo ya politics sasa hapa.
Yes, si waliambiwa haiwezekani. Wangetafuta ingine. Tusikie walitafuta ingine wakanyimwa. Wakatafuta wengine wakanyimwa. Sasa hapo ndio sasa tungesema maybe kuna some issues maybe ambayo inaendelea pale. But kuna so many other places ambazo wanaweza hold. There are so many other things that na si pia hata pia kule wa Mnyoro nasikia pia bado kuna space iko pale.
Kuna space iko pale.
Bado nasikia kuna space iko pale. But at the same time we should you know, sometimes stop you know just a small you know some minor issues. Tuangalie pia the extent to it on how we can be able to do it. Because pia wanafaa you know, pia unajua inafaa ni kama wanatuonesha ni kama hatuna enough space ya kufanyia hizo mikutano. But ziko wa explore zote then tuone ni aje.
Okay, but you know, before talking about story, Mr. Kimotho, I'm wondering, you know, the former prime minister ako kwa the broad-based government. Why would he be blocked by the same government yenye ako hapo?
And that's why we are saying they are public utilities.
Yeah.
It is not an amenities that you can come and use it. So you have to wait, you have to be guided, you have to be given the you know, the direction to use it. It's just like sometimes kuna hata zile shule ambao watu huwa wanaenda kuchezea mpira pale. Ukifika pale unaambiwa pana tulipana nyasi, ama unaambiwa pana kuna another you know, kuna watu wengine ambao walikuja wakabook. So it's something that they need to understand. Ukiambiwa hapa haiwezekani, why don't you look for another place? Because ukiangalia ile time frame ambayo walikuwa wapanga hiyo mkutano, saizo ungekuwa umetafuta like 3 other places. And it is also a very good thing pia hata wao wa ODM wamenyimwa, showing that is, you know, hakuna ile favorism to one side. Yes.
Okay. I think that is what I have mambo ya politics on the Daily Nation.
Na pia kuongeza politics kidogo, tuliona president alikuwa pale Kakamega na one of the statement ambayo alisema, I will not hand over power to opposition who lack a plan. That is now according now to the president.
Who is the opposition?
So the opposition, sasa unajua hapa tuliona opposition ni kama wako wengi. He added that their only plan is that Ruto must go. How will that help that is Kenyans and the country? So that is Ruto criticized the opposition leaders. Sasa wamekuwa hapa wako included. That is kuna DCP leader, former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua, Wiper, that is a leader, that is Kalonzo Musyoka, DAP leader, that is Eugene Wamalwa, former interior, that is cabinet, that is Fred Matiang'i, Kaupia described them described hapa in that category. So these people cannot do anything. They just want to tell stories. Will you accept the mere rhetoric of people who have no plan? He asked the congregation. So that is also pia the response ambayo alispeana, political response.
Nataka kusema hawana plan, Mr. Kimotho.
Yeah, alisema hawana plan.
Okay.
Yes.
Kenyan citizens out there, to those who are supporting the opposition, do you feel like the opposition have a plan? Watuambie moja.
Yeah, they want to do the comparison because okay, wale wanasema hawana plan but plan yao ni hivyo venye ambavyo the president anasema. Kazi yao tu ni kusema tu hapa that is Ruto must go, but at the same time he statement pia ambao that is amejaribu kuimake yeye ndiye ako, yeye ndiye ako na steering ya the nation. So maybe anafaa afanye a lot ndio wale wasikue na anything to say. Yes.
Okay, it's called politics. So the Kenyans ndio wanacho, the ball is on your side. Wewe kama mtazamaji.
Yes.
Yeye ndio anajua.
Yes.
Yeah. And wait, from politics we have that is 5 minutes, Mr. Kimotho.
So I can also see that is pia kuna announcement ambayo iko hapa kwa newspaper. Help me find my family. Kuna lost and missing children ambao wako gazetted hapa. You can also go and grab your standard newspaper page 11. Iko na a list of so many children ambao wako missing, na hii report imetolewa na the children, that is a welfare association of Kenya, na wengi wako reported in various police station kulingana na venye ninaona hapa. So kama kuna kuwa na cases ambayo maybe unajua wa missing child, kuna announcement iko hapa. Go and grab it and also usaidie kulingana na ile system maybe inaweza kuwa iko hapa. Yes.
Okay, nimeona mambo ya IBC, that is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because it seems IBC, Mr. Kimotho, sijui watamaliza kesi zao za IBC lidi.
Unajua kulikuwa na hiyo issue ambayo ilikuwa pale because that is kuna wakati kotini hiyo issue ilikuwa imeenda kule kotini. The court itself ikasema the vetting irudiwe na the parliament, the parliament wakarudia vetting, then kukakuwa na other pia watu pia waliweza kukimbia pale kotini kusika for more assistance. But remember the same time tulisema hata kama the issue inakimbia pale, even if kutakuja any other person ambaye ako pale, as long as that person ako guided na the rules and constitution act vile inafaa, haijalishi nani yako pale, as long as mambo ifanywe vile ambavyo inafaa. And also pia time is not also on our side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you can see that is on page 5, they're saying scales of justice matter to be mentioned, that is June 23rd. Petitioners moved to block IEBC team over court order. Now the team that is the appointees when ilikuwa mechaguliwa, that is Erastus Idung Thikon as the chairperson, and the commissioners, that is Hassan Nur Hassan, Mary Karen Sorbit, Andy Ritu, Moses Alutalala Mukwana, Francis Odhiambo Aduol, and Fatima Afat Abdallah. So they are going to block. I don't know why, Mr. Kimotho. And they say lawyers representing as 2 citizens challenging President William Ruto's appointment of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission nominees are contemplating legal action against the head of state and the government a printer for alleged contempt of court. Yeah. Okay. And they say legal team says that it may also sue the AG and the National Assembly Speaker. Yeah.
So we are really waiting now for the decision and pia ndio pia tusiweza kupitwa na wakati because we also need enough preparation, that is for our election. Yes.
And wamekuja na reasons zingine, Mr. Kimotho. They say the petitioners argue the President Ruto violated constitutional in the nomination process by failing to ensure that is regional and ethnic balance and not consulting the opposition party or coalition as required by the law. They also claim that neither of the selection panel's report nor the interview scores were made by public, thus undermining the transparency. Those are other reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as we wander pia naona hapa kwa Standard newspaper, naona hapa kuna issue now to do with health and science. Naona hapa wanaongelelea mambo mengi sana ambayo yako hapa. That is ninaona pia kuna the issue now to do with diabetes, naona iko hapa. Pia naona to do with the yellow fever. Na pia nikiangalia hapa kuna another statement ambayo naona hapa, that is mental health, why men need safe space to speak up. So ninaona pia imeangazio hapa hivi, and things to do with issue with mental health, na mambo ya wanaume pale ni vizuri. Pia naona kuna other issues ambazo ziko hapa. So hiyo, na pia naona pia kuna mambo na cancer, kuna watu wanapeana story yao vizuri sana. So kuna a lot of story ambazo ziko hapa, na unaweza angalia na inaweza saidia.
Okay, as we wind up kuna cartoon hapa Mr. Kimotho, but hii ni ile nini ya kuspin. Unajua inaitwa hiyo board, that board. The
spin board ama
yes. Kuna yenye imeandikwa, as you can see hapa, kuna una spin, unaweza pata that is try again. Okay. And then kuna that is actually the spin board imeandikwa the national cake sharing. So which is the cake? And you can try again. Then unaweza spin upate promise a voting block, bado unaweza pata become a puppet. Then kuna bootlick, and then bado kuna that is keep begging. So ukispin utapata gani? Na
manyana spin kiangalia hapa naweza sema tu ni mwananchi, kwa sababu na description ambayo iko pale, na zile vitu ambazo wameweka hapa, na zile vitu ambazo zina spin hapo, vitu ambazo pengine bado they are not promising.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
Okay, as we wind up, what do you have to tell the viewers?
First of all, just to give them special thanks kwa vile wamekuwa pamoja na sisi, na kuwashukuru sana for everything, na pia kumbuke they can also give us their views, na pia kuwakaribisha kwenye sonship ambayo inakaribia sana. Asante.
Yeah, and the Sonship 2025, it will be the Sonship Summit 2025. It will be happening this June. That is from the 23rd to the 27th here at Mizpah Prayer Center. This is a gathering that is seeking to restore the hearts of the sons and the fathers together. Come on, unajua, please mark the date. For more information, talk to us on 0727766553. My name is Angela Kabete. We had an amazing time with Mr. Kimotho, making sure that you stay updated of what is happening that is in our country and beyond. Don't forget, this segment has been sponsored by Stack Institute and Driving School. The courses that they offer, that is ICT, hospitality courses, cosmetology, and driving courses. They have various branches in Nakuru County, but the main campus is in Njoro Town on the Egerton Njoro Road. If you're interested, please visit their website, that is on www.stackinstitute.ac.ke, and register online to get a 10% discount. Still, you can use that is the email info@stackinstitute.ac.ke. Till next time, bye bye.